good. All right. What's going on, everybody? Pat from Ski Reference here with another episode of One Piece of Our Minds, where we cover the weekly chapter of One Piece every week that a chapter comes out. Yeah, like last week, it's still just me. John still has a baby. That's still a thing. You might notice, excuse me, that my voice is a little hoarse. I'm on the downward trend of a cold. I am just on the edge of not sounding like this, not feeling like Garbo. So bear with me while we read this. This will probably be a shorter discussion, but I want to read this chapter. Like Freddie Mercury once said, the show must go on. So here we are. So yeah, we're gonna just jump right into it. I've got some coffee here to wake up. My brain might be a little slow today because I took some Nyquil and it's still not wearing off. So here we are, chapter 1164, Davy Blood, with a reader request for the cover page. It's Perona chasing Randolph, and the request is Perona chasing a rabbit with a watch by Tamari Shinonome. Yeah, she's chasing Randolph because, she's thinking of Mihawk and his eyes are glowing. And Randolph obviously wants nothing to do with this. So, very cute. Move on. Alright, so we're picking up right where we left off. Last time, Emu has Rox stabbed and he's screaming. And Whitebeard's like, "What is it, Rox?" And Roger's saying that our attacks do nothing to that spider. They're all just watching in horror, and Linlin's like, "What's going on here?" And Emu has Zebek in their clutches saying, "Persistent thou art." And Zebek's like, "Don't downplay the power of humanity, monster." Ooh. Ooh, we get this panel here where he just looks defiantly at Emu with his big old fangs sticking out. Like, he should be Domi Reversi, but he's not. And he's just looking at Emu saying, "Davy D. Jones was once the king of the world." And Emu just, the angriest we've ever seen Emu, is saying, "Silence! He was never king. Not for an instant. The grievance between Mu and Davy has nothing to do with thee." And Zebek's like, "Then why are you so panicked over something as trivial as the Davy name? It's kept you terrified for years, hasn't it? The thought that Davy's will might be passed down and one day come for you to fulfill the promise. What's more frightening to you, Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy?" I'm loving this. And he was like, "Cease thy dreaming. Their kind will never be seen again, once I have eradicated thee. I have found excellent soldiers to serve Mu, Davy. Gigantic, harmless, and conflicted." And Zebek's like, "The giants, you fool. Don't mess with Harold. They only want peace." And he was like, "Indeed, a golden opportunity. Such a willing puppet of a king will never come along twice. No! Just like thee, in fact. Now stop wasting time and bring an end to the dream of Davy." And yeah, you see, I don't know what he was doing to make this go just a little bit quicker, but yeah, the transformation is starting to take effect on Zebek. Excuse me. And yeah, we see him plummet to the ground, and I was like, "Huh? Rocks? What did it do to you? What happened up there, Rocks?" So it's like, "Damn it, I'm going to disappear." And he's just thinking to himself as the transformation is taking hold. And then Lynn's like looking over at him, and she's like, "Huh?" And we see Zebek just like eyes whited out, and we see Emu's command once again: "End Davy by thine own hand. Now erase all life that was involved with God Valley." Yeah, we see him starting to get bigger, and Lynn's like, "Huh? Did you get bigger?" So it's like, "All of you, move it. There is blood that must be erased from history." And he hops. He's jumping right up in front of Kaido, who is still in dragon form, by the way. And he's like, "Hey, Rocks, what are you?" And just slam. Oh, I see what he did. So he jumps up right next to him, grabs his head, and just throws it into the side of the mountain. You just see like a flash of hockey as it goes. And I was like, "Kaido." Yeah, he's kind of down for the count, it looks like. And then it's like, "Damn you, Rocks. Are you turning on your own people?" Which is kind of funny considering who the Rocks pirates were. But you see him just flick Linen away. She is nothing to him, just a pest. and she flies right past Whitebeard, who's just kind of grimacing and looking at him. Like he like, kind of looks like Luffy on Sabaody when the pacifistas are shooting lasers at him, where he just moves his head a little bit. Anyway, and he's saying to Rocks, "Is that all we are to you, Rocks? Impediments?" He's like, "Yes." And then they clash. Hold on, am I reading this right? He's not even Whitebeard's not even using his Naginata. He's just blocking with his arm. Oh, probably because he's using his devil fruit. I see. Yeah, that's what that is. I thought that was hockey at first. There is hockey there, but we're primarily seeing his tremor fruit. And yeah, you just see a huge burst of hockey from where they're fighting, and the mountain that they're by is just cracked and crumbling. And it's flying down. Damn, that is a cool shot. Those two mountains on God Valley are like it. I'm not gonna make a 9/11 reference. I'm not. I'm just saying we should all remember that. But it's falling down one of the mountains, and everyone's like, run for your lives, the mountain's coming down. So yeah, we see a bunch of people just hoofing it, including Eris and Little Teach. All battleships along the northeast shore, withdraw and keep your distance. Yeah, so we're looking at the northeast shore, all the Navy ships are. Northeast shore. That was dangerous. Who should we punish for allowing this to happen? Quickly, please, this way, everyone. Don't you dare leave without us, or we'll have you all put to death. Hurry, my lords. And then in the southwest part of the island, we see Shaki in the arms of Rayleigh still. Hurry up, Rayleigh. This island is doomed. Roger better be all right in there. And I'm trying to see who this is. It looks like... I think we're still in the southwest part of the island, so I have to imagine that's Scopper. But maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. Oh, it's gotta be, yeah, because we see some... Alright, so they're carrying the treasure. Someone's saying, treasure, treasure. Can you believe how much there is? Whoa, it's a dead end. Make it snappy. And we just see, yeah, they're carrying treasure, the chest that... Who I presume is Scopper. Maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from this far away. The chest he's holding, you just see, like, Z's coming from it, implying that Baby Shanks is in there and he's sleeping through all of this. And we see Dragon on the ground, kind of like Luffy was after he comes to after Marineford, and he's just on the ground and he's like, "Damn it! I can't even save a single baby. Where did he go?" We're cut number 2. Eva and Kuma and Ginny. You have to stop, Kuma. If you keep going, you'll put us in danger. Kumachi. Yeah, he's just holding his chest and he's breathing heavy. There might still be lives I can save. Oh, a person. I have to imagine. I can't tell. I think it's supposed to be a little vague, but I have to imagine that this is going to be Dragon he's looking at. Could be wrong here. We'll see. We see Captain John, who's clutching his chest. He's bleeding pretty bad too. He's like, "Curses. Stupid Ganjui." Shiki, is there even any escape off this island? And you see him just carrying a chest, and he's just running. Gee ha ha ha. You thought you could get the best of me? All forces to the shore. We need stretchers. I can't get there. The woods are on fire. Oh man, we have this shot of Zebek just pushing. He's increased in size, so he looks more imposing. But he's pushed 2 trees to the side. Excuse me, that's breakfast coming up. He's pushing 2 trees to the side, and you just see he's so clearly focused. Eris and Teach are right there, and he's looking right at them. Zebek, you look just like... So you lost then? And she just starts crying. I'm sorry, dear. You had to face off in order to save us. But it was too early, wasn't it? Oh, Teach. And she's just like holding her son, and he's just looking on in horror. God, poor Teach. We'll jump into the sea. We just have to swim. Whatever it takes to keep the Davy blood alive. You have to survive, no matter what it takes. And yeah, she's screaming all of this as Zebek is like right behind her. Escapees at the shore. We see... Oh, interesting. Okay. Zebek is like right behind Eris. He's about to bring his sword down. We see a bunch of cannonballs flying right at her. And Eris is just like, oh no. And then we see Kuma, of all people, flying in and just taps both Eris and Teach. And he looks around, sees Zebek, sees the cannonballs, and he's like, nope, I'm out of here. And so they shoot Zebek there, and Emu's just looking on. I don't know if they know that he missed Eris and Teach or not, but they're saying, "Continue, Davy. Snuff out every light of life left on the island." And we see some of the Navy soldiers saying, "Hurry up, Vice Admiral Garp. There's no time." "No, you hurry. How many are still on the island?" We cut over to Roger's ship. "Where are you now, Roger?" "I'm fine. Once everyone's on the ship, let me know. Got that?" Yeah, we just see Rox is just taking out everybody on this island. And they're saying, no, stop it, Rox. Why does he look like that?" And we just see Garp, and oh man, we see Garp looking just like slightly bothered, and Roger's just like, "I can't believe we have to deal with this." And they're saying, "Get out here, Rox." And Emu's like, "Davy?" Emu's clearly shocked by what's going down here. And we look and we see just giant Zebek with like the devil wings, just looking down on Garp and Roger. And Garp's like, "Look what a mess you are." And Roger's like, "Can't let you go after my crew." And we hear, oh my god, we see a thought bubble, and we see Roger, Garp. And they're like, "What's that voice? Help me." Oh man. And Roger's like, "Why do you look like that?" And we just see the face of Zebek transformed, Domi Reversi, just demonic, angry, and like furious, and he's crying, and he's telling Roger and Gar, "Please, just kill me." And they're both like, "What?" And he just flies at them with his sword, and he's here to do business, but he does not want to live anymore. That is heartbreaking, and that's the end of the chapter. Shit, man, you hate to see it. But yeah, we are not on break next week. Fortunately, I imagine we finish up God Valley. If not next week, if not next chapter, the chapter after that. Ooh, Nelly. Lot to go over here. We're gonna start way back at the beginning. Surface level thoughts though. Good chapter. I think last week was a little more hype, but this was still like this is like we're getting a lot of answers here. We still have some like a few questions left for how things went down here, but more or less we can kind of envision how this is going to play out and how the rest of this God Valley portion will play out at least. Um, yeah, I want to talk about this. Davy D. Jones was once the king of the world. We are absolutely coming back to that. You don't just drop that and say, "Nope, that's it." What does that mean? Was Davy D. Jones once? Was he like? Was Davy Jones once like? I mean, we see King of the World. Does that mean because Joy Boy was the first pirate, right? We learned that in Egghead. Like, does that mean that they were on opposing forces, and that Emu just kind of happened to intrude on that? Like, what's the? We see Emu bristle at this, so I wonder if there is some contention here. Like, not contention. If there is some contention, excuse me, that he was once king of the world. Like, I wonder if that was just a moniker that Davy D. Jones took upon himself and just claimed while Emu was like, "What the fuck, dude? I'm right here." So I wonder if there's something there. Because Emu was very quick to be like, "Silence, he was never king. Not for an instant." But I think we see like a new side. We see a new side of Emu here. There's no thinking about it. Like this is the quickest we've seen Emu respond to something, and the angriest Emu's been. I think at least because they're usually calm and collected. Where it's like, "Oh, Lulucia." I forget you ever heard that. That was that island never existed to begin with. So I wonder, man, it's so interesting too. We're learning so much about like Emu and the Davy clan and Joy Boy, like just through this flashback alone, just through these interactions. It's so cool. But it's very, I don't know, childlike. It makes me wonder what Emu was when Davy D. Jones and Joy Boy were alive. And I think it says something that saying Davy Jones was king of the world is enough to make Emu furious. Um, are they that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I had it. Insecure. That's the word I'm looking for. Are they that insecure about their hold over the world that just Zebek saying this name, saying they were the king of the world, is enough to set Emu off? It's fascinating. I think that's such an interesting wrinkle in Emu's character. Because like I said, we've just never seen Emu get this angry before. Um, it's kept you terrified for years, hasn't it? The thought that Davy's will might be passed down and one day come for you to fulfill the promise. And I want to the promise. I wonder if that's Davy Jones, just like I'm picturing Edward Elric in Fullmetal Alchemist, where he's being pulled through the gate of truth after finally fighting his brother. This is like early-ish spoilers, so apologies if you haven't watched that yet, but you should. But he's being pulled through the gate, and then he forces the gate open for just like 2 more seconds, and just points. He just points at truth. He's like, "I will save my little brother." I wonder if it was something like that with Davy Jones and Zebek. And he's like, "I'm gonna take you out. If not me, one of my progenitors, one of my I don't know if that's the right word. One of my legacy will hunt you down. You will not have a night of rest." Um, and then man, and I think that's something important. Um, I think that promise. I think he told Eris about this because when Zebek is cornering Eris and she's like, "Oh, you look just like implying or remembering that her parents on this island were also turned and changed just like him." So she assumes that, oh, he just lost. And she's like, "You lost then. I'm sorry. You had to face off in order to save us, but it was too early, wasn't it?" And I think that's really fascinating. I think there's a couple of wrinkles here. There's a couple of angles I want to take this with. One, clearly, this dream of taking down Emu is important enough to Rox that he shared it with Eris. And it's a shared dream they have because she's also now a part of the Davy clan. And I wonder now that she's escaped the island thanks to Kuma, that she'll pass down this dream to Davy or to teach. Because I think he's still a little too young to remember all of this, but I do. Well, I say that, but his eyes, he looks so scared here. We even see Eris just like when she's holding him closer, he just looks so frightened. You see the little exclamation point in the speech bubble right by him. Yeah, he just looks so startled. But yeah, she even says it was too early then. So it's clearly something they've discussed. And man, I just love that because it creates another parallel between Roger and Rox, um, where Roger finds the One Piece and learns the history and the truth of the world. And then he's, according to Owen's flashback, he's like, "We were too soon. We weren't the ones that were supposed to find this." And I love that. I love that there's a parallel here where like both Roger and Rox were so close to achieving their dream, but they were just too early, too soon. It was not the time yet. So yeah, let's go back a little bit. Emu uses a couple of Emu uses a word here, going back to that portion of the chapter that caught my attention. Um, we see Zebek throw at Emu, "What's more frightened to you, Davy D. Jones or Joy Boy?" And Emu again bristles, saying, "Cease thy dreaming." Dreaming is what Emu's saying. Um, he says it there, and then just a few panels later on the next page, um, Emu's commanding Zebek, saying, "And bring an end to the dream of Davy." Um, so clearly dreams are something that Emu's very opposed to. Um, he tells Zebek to stop dreaming and bring an end to the dream of Davy. Uh, and I think that's very specific wording. I think that's very important. I don't know if it I don't know if that's speaking to Emu's character or a weakness of Emu. I think it could be both. Uh, but then I think how dreams are just so integral to the world of One Piece. Um, I mean, one of my favorite panels of all time is Blackbeard talking to Luffy in Jaya, saying the man's dreams will never end. I think that's so core to this conflict that's brewing here, specifically with Teach and Emu now, that we've set up through this flashback, through these last two chapters alone. But I also, yeah, I mean, dreams are core. I think what you could even say devil fruits are the effects, the results of these people dreaming, right? Like these are abilities born of people who wished hard enough for these powers to be a thing so they could, you know, survive even. My memory's a little fuzzy on Vegapunk recounting all of that stuff, but I remember the important part is that it's born from people's dreams. Dreams are such a core part to One Piece. It has been pretty much since the beginning. Um, but it's become even more important as of late. And I think Emu bringing it up here, I think, is something to keep in mind. Definitely do not forget that. Excuse me. We see, yeah, he's talking about the giants. So I wonder then, because I wanted to rope in Harold into this conversation. I'm not sure how we get there, because Zebek did defeat Harold on the seas. Maybe he's fine. He wakes up, he's like, keep going to God Valley. Uh, but I think it's okay. I mean, this explains then why they end up at Elbaf eventually. I think this is more setting that up than anything. I'm not sure if Harold actually showed. Well, he says he was there, so he has to show up. I mean, it's probably a matter of he shows up and helps Roger and Garp take out Zebek, and then we go back to Elbaf after that, and then he gets Domi reversied. Um, yeah, that's probably what happens there. Um, yeah, and I love Zebek saying this. I think this is another. I don't know if we've actually seen this angle. It's always been, what can I do to cause the most amount of chaos? That's what we've mostly seen from Zebek. But here we see genuine concern from him, where he's like, "Don't mess with Harold. They only want peace, peace." Like he's like, "Hey, I know this is, I know that they're like a huge potential asset, but like, don't you dare go after my friends. Don't you dare mess with them. They only want peace." Um, and I think that's fascinating. Yeah, then he just gets thrown down, and it's him versus his own crew to start with. He does not clash with Garp and Roger. I'm just now picking up on. Uh, but yeah, he just destroys Lin Kaido. We don't actually see him body Whitebeard, but it's implied that because he's the only one running after he clashes with Whitebeard, um, that he wins that clash. And then we get that mountain flying down. But that's interesting to note that they don't show Whitebeard going down like that. But yeah, I mean, you're led to believe that he did. Let's see here. So yeah, we got yeah, baby Shanks in that chest. You see Dragon. I'm still convinced that we're gonna get Kuma running into Dragon, and that's how we get like the base of the Revolutionary Army established. Because I don't think Dragon leads with the Navy here. If he does, I mean, let me take that back. There are two options for Dragon here. Either he does leave with the Navy and then quits as soon as they get back, or he leaves with Kuma and Ginny and Eva. Excuse me. So he's very focused on saving lives. And I think the way this is laid out, when he says, "oh, a person," and it jumps immediately to Captain John, I don't think he sees Captain John. I don't think that's what that is. I do think we're supposed to imply that that's Eris he's seeing. So when he goes in and saves him at the very end, that's what it ties back to him seeing a person. I do think he makes himself disappear probably somewhere else on the island, knowing Kuma. He's such a good boy. Uh, he probably is trying to save everyone he can. Um, which man, having the Buccaneer blood going up against Emu like that, it's so good because Emu wants every life to be eradicated on this island. Kuma just wants to save. I love that. I love that dichotomy. That conflict between Kuma and Emu. Even though Kuma's just doing it to help people, Emu's like, no, no one must get out of here alive. It's just who they are trying to like make their will be come into effect. Really, I love that. Um, I just love Kuma looking up at I assume Zevik or the Kens. I'm not sure, but he's just like, oh shit. It's very funny to me. Oh man, yeah, and I love just this like this look of like I can't believe we gotta fucking do this from Garb and Roger at the end here. They both clearly are like, man, my crew's not even close to being ready. I gotta fucking hold this guy off. God damn it! Like it's just an annoyance to them. Like I know people have been clowning on Roger since this flashback has started, saying Zevik's been doing this, he's been doing that, he's been doing that, and like I get it, I get it. Zevik's definitely been getting the good treatment in this flashback, but I think Roger's about to show out here, and I think everyone's gonna be like, oh shit, we're sorry we doubted you. Um, that being said, Zevik is transformed, fully doing reverse seed, and definitely needs help from Garb. I don't care how strong you think Zevik or Roger is. There's no way Roger could do that on his own. Um, yeah, we get that thought bubble, or what's usually framed as a thought bubble. Uh, Something we've only seen used for like external, like used for communication between the Gorosei and Emu and the Holy Knights by extension. And I think we saw it with Zunisha. I think with some of the Sea Kings and Luffy back in Fishman Island. Um, and I have to wonder what that is because Rogers and me like what's that voice? Wait a minute. Okay. No. Okay. I was gonna ask if Gar could even hear that because the way he reacts after Zevik says Roger Garb, help me. It almost looks like he doesn't hear it and he's reacting to Roger saying, what's that voice? And he's like, please just kill me. They're both pretty shocked. So, yeah, he can hear it too. I mean, it makes sense. Luffy can hear it. I imagine Dragon could also hear it if he were there. Um, but I wonder what that is or if we get any more, if we'll expound on that at all moving forward. Maybe we see something like that at Elbaf, or maybe we don't, and this is just Zebek's power will forcing itself through this transformation, and that's what that is. Um, so we'll need to see how that plays out. I'm fine with any way that Oda decides to go with that. I'm not sure it's anything really, but we'll see. And yeah, that's the end of said chapter. Um, um, yeah, I think the biggest takeaways here are Davy D Jones being okay. First of all, I don't think we knew he's part of the D clan. I think that's super interesting, which means that he had to have been like living concurrently with Joy Boy, right? I guess we don't necessarily know that. Um, we don't necessarily have to. They don't necessarily have to be living at the same time. We have a whole timeline we can work with here. That, as far as we know, we've only covered like the first two eras. Um, so I'm really, I don't know. I think that's the biggest takeaway here is Davy D. Jones, the Dreams, and Joy Boy they're all connected. They're all connected. Always have been. Um, so yeah, man, looking at this more, it's like, man, this was just chock full of good stuff. Man, I'm really excited to see the rest of this portion of the flashback play out. I'm excited to see the rest of this flashback play out. But once we leave God Valley, I'm just gonna say it. I'm ready to go back to Elbaf. I'm ready to go back to present day. So I hope we don't dilly dally too much after this, after God Valley. I hope we get to the incident where Loki kills Harold and all that good stuff. I hope we get to that quickly. But I don't think we will, knowing Oda. He likes to take his time with this kind of stuff. And I know that he's expedited things in these later chapters, but still. It'll probably be like a few more chapters after God Valley, if I had to guess. But I'm ready to go back to present day. Speaking of the future of One Piece, no, I don't even think I want to talk about the anime going fully seasonal. I think that's great. But also, there's something else. I don't remember. Probably not important then. Oh, the SBS is what I was going to talk about. We don't need to talk about that now. Maybe we make another video about that. But more or less confirmation that Queen is Frankie's father. That's interesting. I don't know if Oda was ever going to pay that off. It sounds like he wasn't, so that's why he revealed it. But it's interesting to note. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I'm going to call it here. I said this might be a shorter video. It did not go shorter than I usually go. That is very funny to me. All right. Well, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to edit this, make it come out quickly, hopefully, and then drink some tea and take a nap. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are back next week with another chapter, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, leave a comment, leave a like. Have a good day. Have a good week. I'll see you later. Bye.